Yo, what's up with y'all? We back at it again with more reactions. What we reacting to? We reacting to Boardroom. Kyrie Irving has something to say after the first round exit. I don't even watch like the playoffs like that, but that's crazy. Y'all niggas got eliminated in the first round. Like I know that was like very rare, but I should have never let that shit happen. Regardless, by any means. Y'all too nice for that.
Today I have a special guest host, the first person to come back. So, that distinction. My guy, Kyrie Irving. Kai, how you living, man?
I'm great, man. Great. Taking it one day at a time. Blessed.
So, we come in. This is 2 days since the unceremonious into your season.
Yeah.
How soon are you back in the gym? Like, you was hooping this morning, or?
Nah. I had to decompress, reflect, and it's only been 48 hours, right? So there's but so much you can do in that amount of time. But I've just been at home with my family, really just
That's good.
dedicating time with them.
You been in Jersey and shit, huh?
And, just catching up on things that I probably missed out on throughout the
That's
season.
good, Kai.
So I heard, I just need you to confirm this rumor. I heard you play 1-on-3 as part of your training, and just hoop, like, just get after it.
That is true.
Why, like,
I can confirm that.
Fucking
what
try
are you
hard.
doing that for? Like,
Yeah, try
I
hard.
was trying to work on so many different situations that can come across the game.
you know how mad I was when I was in 03?
And I scored?
Yeah. I got
Yeah,
your
that's
left
the
hand, he got
point.
your right.
That's the point. That's the point, man. But honestly, it's just having a creative way to look at the game.
Yeah.
Just somebody's on my left,
Fucking
somebody's
God.
on my right. It's not always gonna be like that.
Kyrie's a god.
When you have somebody contesting you and bumping you a little bit more, it helps. So try to be creative in my workout.
Like, decent bodies, too. This isn't like me and my two boys. These are like,
These are players.
Folks.
These are players. They're not playing at the highest level that I'm at, but they definitely are part of my team when we go into the summertime or when I'm trying to get back in shape. They help me out.
Yeah, that tripped me out. I might go. But
I need to try that. Fucking Kyrie the GOAT.
Yeah.
So, this season has been a roller coaster. You talked a ton about all of this.
This training consists of
I feel like
1v1ing 3 guys at a time.
As far as
Here you go.
controversial things, these things people are worried about. What I wonder, as a fan, as somebody close to
I know y'all can hear it now.
situation, was there ever
Some
a
more.
point in there where you're like, nah, I'm just gonna come back. I'm like wavered on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think, I'm glad we have this space to talk about it because I felt like I've been as open as I could be as well, or as I can be. And, it's hard to be transparent in this space where, everybody's holding on to every single word that you're going to say. So I try to find a healthy balance with, being authentically me, speaking honestly, but also just being conscientious of other people's feelings and the other people that I represent, family members of mine. I've said so many things in my life, whether it be in public or in private conversations that could be controversial, right? Or they can, make someone think a certain way about me. I really don't pay attention to that as much now. But I've just been able to learn and grow in this space to be able to learn, like, hey, I can articulate how I feel about certain issues, but some things I got to keep close to my chest because, not everybody's going to understand. Not everybody understood my stance this year of being unvaccinated, remaining unvaccinated. I was asked in all different types of ways about how I felt and whether or not
Which
I was
I
going to
think.
waiver. Did I feel
And
like,
nigga didn't get to play because he didn't want
I
to
was
get
letting the world
vaccinated.
down or letting Nets fans down, letting my team.
And now they
down.
letting him
And,
play.
Yeah, part of that letdown.
He could play in the
feeling was
playoffs.
something because, it completely caught me off guard. I didn't expect to come into the season with all of this being put on my plate. It was like an ultimatum given to me. It's either you work and get vaccinated, just like, this ultimatum was given to other people, or you sit at home and, now we get to talk shit about your decision and you personally and, make all these judgments and stuff like that. So I had to deal with both ends of the spectrum, right? So I sat right in the middle and I knew I was doing the right thing for me.
Yeah.
And I had to stay rooted in that decision. And I'm grateful that I had a great support system around me that helped me get through it because it wasn't easy, man.
So when the conversations do start about you coming back part time, where does that come from? Like, were you approached? How does that begin, and then it kind of goes from there?
Well, I was approaching
Part-time GOAT.
The team, almost every day or every week. Like, hey, is there any progress? Any status? And,
Part-time GOAT.
Trying to get in touch.
I think he can only play on
trying
home
to get in
games
touch
and
with,
shit.
Our political figures, our political.
No, I mean
leaders to
away
figure out,
games.
how do we work around this? I talked to scientists. I talked to health professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I went down the checklist of, hey, is there any way that I can work around this? And really what I ran into was, it affected so many people, brother. Like, it affected so many people, not just in New York City, but across the whole entire world. So, I was getting general answers back because they were not trying to make it, hey, we're just trying to get you to play and give you special, treatment. So I had to respect that, and I had to honor that and go back and talk with, my support system, figure out what was the best way to approach this, and that's what we did.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because it kind of got spun into like, yo, this is only Kyrie, but literally like thousands of city municipal workers were fired, and there was protests.
Kyrie got the drip. Stop playing with him.
Obviously, than just you.
Yeah.
I fuck with the jeans.
Tricky that all of a sudden the Yankees and Mets can't play, and then all of a sudden there's some progress, but that's another debate for another day.
I don't even want to debate it. I'm like, I'm just happy for those that can stand firm in what they believe in and still be able to make a living.
Yeah.
When things come up in our society where they impact people's decisions based on real life circumstances. Like people have kids, people have families, and I just feel like it got confusing for a lot of us.
Yeah.
It got spun, like you said, in so many different ways. But really, what I was standing on was, hey, there's a whole community of us, right, that have been labeled as the unvaccinated, as the conspiracy theorists, whatever, that we've been labeled as whatever these names have been brought to our lives, right, and who we are as people. But I was just saying, I am human. You're human. You have the right to make your own decision. I respect that, and I pray that you respect me in the same way. But when you're playing in an entertainment game, or you're playing in
facts, you gotta talk your shit.
It has rules. So
very particular set of
Kyrie, you be talking
circumstances
shit too, my nigga. You be flicking niggas off, doing hella shit too. You're not an angel.
I'm the only player in the NBA.
I'll give them that.
With this particular set of circumstances,
You a demon.
You're not the only unvaccinated. You dropped 50 and 60 in the same week, and you still never felt back.
There was nothing to lose. It was only, like the journey to enjoy at that point, because I was sitting at home, and I don't even want to say sitting at home. I was wondering at home what my future was going to look like. Whether I was going to be traded, whether I was going to be released, whether I was going to get the opportunity to be on another team, how I was going to.
This nigga don't give a fuck.
Spend this for myself.
I don't really fuck with that. Kyrie don't really want to be a franchise player, bro. This nigga's just having fun with this shit. I don't really fuck with that.
So I kept affirming to myself things are gonna change. I have people around me, and I'm grateful for them affirming that things.
Not gonna lie, wasted potential, Kyrie.
I never felt like myself throughout the season because
wasted talent. Matter of fact,
sustaining a level of growth throughout the year instead of trying to catch up with everybody that's been playing for 4 or 5 months. They've been at it every day since October or September. I was at it. Maybe September, October, I was healing from my ankle injury. I was still dealing with that.
Got a nice AP.
We got in a training camp.
That's the AP that I want. Is that a blue face? If that's a blue face, that's exactly what I want.
To be brought down in a way that
platinum AP
at all.
It's tough.
I had the opportunity to play away games still, but there was no plan in place. There was no vision of like how it's going to work for our team, and I think that really impacted not just me but a lot of people. So. Just had to sit in that hot seat for a little bit and deal with it, man. Life of a martyr, bro.
I don't think you're getting out of the hot seat anytime soon. I think
I'm okay with that.
That's just your seat for now.
I'm okay with
the ankle injury, I'm happy you mentioned that. So not to dwell on last year, but how close were you to playing at that point? Like, you're playing in the next round, you're missing that. I remember seeing you in the arena with the scooter, and I'm like, oh, he's not gonna play no time soon.
Yeah.
How close? How far were you from that?
That was by far my most traumatic ankle injury.
It was a bad time.
Yeah, it was, and if you look at the video or the image, the still image of it, my ankle was 90 degrees.
I didn't see that shit. His ankle got clapped.
What made it?
What was this?
What made it the worst one was the height I was coming down
Yeah.
at, because I had just shot a floater, and bro's foot was right there, and I come down on it, and it didn't twist.
It's
right
a
away.
nice
It come back,
AP.
it
That's
was
a
on
black
the ground
face.
for
I fuck with it.
a second, and I felt it, and I felt like I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
So I was scared. I was nervous.
It's beautiful.
And when injuries happen at the height of the playoffs or your season or your postseason, man, that's not something you want to deal with. So that aspect had to be taken into play. And I didn't start walking normal probably until like mid-September, into September. So training camp was like my first time going up and down and getting back my feel. So I knew it was going to be a process for me to play again, but it would have been accelerated being around the guys and playing game speed. You know what I mean? So now when the mandate was dropped, I'm at home with my healing ankle, but I'm not getting NBA basketball anymore, or NBA run. So I had to be creative and just play the waiting game, bro, and wait until all of this stuff kind of calmed down and there was some light at the end of the tunnel.
You've dealt with injury all injuries are at the worst time, but you didn't hurt in the finals. Your knee. That was another one. It was like you were pretty banged up then. Did that inform like I can't rush back from this, even though it's the playoffs? It's obviously it only ended up being another week, and there wasn't no decision to make after that. But was that part of the process at the time too?
Wait, this nigga couldn't play in the playoffs? I could have sworn he was playing in the playoffs.
I was dealing with a knee injury. My ankle injury.
So many injuries you got, my nigga.
It was a little bit more sensitive to me because I have to.
You becoming a fucking liability, my nigga.
Me, it was like I could tie it together a little bit. Be creative with how I get my VMO, my quad firing and stuff like that. So I was able to get back into some type of form that I was at during those playoffs in 2015. But
gigantic brace on that leg at the time.
Oh,
I seen
man.
some footage recently and was like, yo, how do you for the way you play with that thing was nuts.
But that's the mental hurdle that a lot of athletes have to face in high pressure situations where your team is not necessarily relying on you, but they're depending on you to do everything you can to get back, which I did in those 2015 playoffs, but I just wasn't ready. My knee was weak. It wasn't where I wanted it to be standard wise, but I gave it a chance, right?
Yeah.
And I ended up with a fractured kneecap, and I was out for 7 months. And you look back on those decisions, and you're like, hey, if I would have kept myself out, would that have been the right decision? Who knows, right?
Who knows?
No regrets in that. I went after a championship, and I live with the results. Got a scar that I look at every day. That's just a reminder. But my ankle injury it felt different because I honestly felt like my ankle was broken. I couldn't do ankle moves as much as I wanted to, and I couldn't walk around the way I wanted to. So I was already under the impression this is going to take me more than just 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me until we lost that, this is going to take me 3 months. Yeah. I'm going to have to get off my feet completely. And I'm a little bit of a wild card, in terms of how I approach.
No way. That's you.
I'm a bit of a wild card, how I approach my body at times, and, what I feel like I push myself through. And I kept trying to push myself through it. And even in the summertime to get ready for October. And that was, like, it wasn't going. I wasn't progressing as I would have liked. So 2 different situations, but still mental and physical hurdles to get over that I look back on, and I wouldn't change anything except probably just being a lot more patient with myself.
So I want to stick with the Cavs run for a second. 2016, you feel like that's the highest level of play you've played?
Well, shout out to all my teammates on that.
I should have brought my hat. I had like the hat.
Shout out to Cleveland. you know, on just a historical run.
Be honest, Kyrie. Don't
Our fan
fucking
base
cap
was
now. I know
really,
you and
in
LeBron
terms of,
beefing, but don't
you know,
cap.
we collectively galvanized each other. And they gave us energy.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
be
yeah.
capping.
On the road. I mean, it was called Quicken Loans at the time before it was Rocket Mortgage. The Q was jumping.
Yeah.
You know, Fred McLeod was doing the game still. Rest in peace to him. And we just had a good group. And that run was special because we had dealt with so much adversity in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, internal stuff that we had to get right as teammates. And then going into the playoffs, we were like, man, we could deal with anything. You know, we're gonna sweep through a lot of these teams. But looking back on it, I think it just was more special because of the way we did it and the circumstances, situation that we were faced with. And I had to go deep within myself to bring out all of these tools that I had learned since, you know, I was learning fundamentals and just put them on display on the biggest stage. And I think that was one of the highest levels of play that I played, but it wasn't the highest for me that I look back on. Just because it was a short window. So it was like, just throw everything out there and hope something lands. So I was just throwing jabs, and things were landing against the best. And when you start landing things against the best and you find that rhythm, that's what ended up happening. And also, by the way, I had a lot of help. Like, also confidence that was being given to me. Like, yo, Kai, just don't even worry about how many attempts that you're shooting. Don't worry about where you're shooting. Just be you, and we're going to
Get buckets.
Group, but we just need to
get
be
buckets
aggressive and not think about, like, oh, how do I be efficient in these spaces? So I had a lot of help. That's why I got to shout out the whole entire Cleveland area for that, man.
That Game 5 is one of the most impressive performances as a duo, as individually. But to throw up 40s like you guys were and against that defense. The highlights from that series, your highlights, are 8-1 on Dre. And you
Does he actually remember?
Like, these are like iconic plays in basketball. But like they made you work for them joints.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm like, it's tough as it been, but you played in a ton of tough series since then.
And that's why I said it was one of those.
Bro.
Differently.
Kyrie showed out.
It's easy to go in there. Me and Clay had a series against each other, but it was one game. You know, we didn't have a full 7 games. That was the first time me and him got to go against one another. Then we followed that up in 2017 going against them with Kev there. So that was history that was supposed to be made. You know, like, who would ever thought that the 7-3-9 Golden State Warriors be going against us again, and we would have a trilogy with that series, with me being there. And I had to really appreciate everybody that was on the floor at that time, because it's not ever going to be done like that again.
Yeah.
You know,
No cap. That shit will never, ever be replicated.
So there wasn't much that I was.
That shit was legendary.
Nigga,
that shot was legendary. That was the dagger.
I was just like, man, if we make it there, I just got to ball out.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I'm part of the ground building stage of, we put our team together, we put our organization together, we put our teammates in the right positions in terms of roles, and I'm now much more responsible for more. You know, I've taken on that responsibility of more. So, yeah, the Cleveland days, man, they were really special as we reflect, but huge learning experience too that I took from them.
That's what it seems like. I know you've talked about leadership and since that time and how that fed into that. Obviously, your years in Boston as well. So you're 30 now.
Yep.
Do you feel like you're in your prime? Like, do you view your career in that sense?
I'll say it again. I feel like I'm slowly crawling into it, just as my talent becomes much more of a canvas for me to work with in the summertime and in the season. You know, finding motivation is playing different styles.
Bro, I don't get it, bro. You talk all this shit, but then you don't want to play.
As I crawl into it, it's
seems like you don't give a fuck.
Consistently being at a level of say, enjoyable assassin time. Right? Like, just being an assassin consistently.
Win another championship.
4 years, 5 years. I won't even put a time, expiration on it. It's just like,
he talking all this hot shit, but he don't show us.
Where it's not so much about the numbers and the achievements and accolades. It's like, I'm on the best team and I'm one of the best players on the best team, and we've done it as a dynasty because we literally went through this over here in order to accomplish this. You know, I wouldn't be able to say I'm crawling into my prime without the experiences of Cleveland and then going to Boston and then signing up for Brooklyn and then now being in this situation now where we're 2 days out and we got swept.
Yeah.
And it's my first time in my career I've been swept. And now I have so much time on my hands to think about it and plan and envision. So,
bro,
yeah,
let's hope
just
you
say
show
me
out
turning
next
30
season, my
this year is
nigga.
like,
I can feel you. Like,
I hope you
the
do,
energy,
bro.
you just, like, I'm ready. Like that
Go
video. I
Kobe
talked about
mode,
last time.
Mamba mode, Black Mamba.
So what is Kyrie?
Bro,
add to his
these
game?
niggas
I
should
have
win
my
a
running
chip
back is
next
he's
year.
massive,
Realistically, KD and Kyrie could win the
offensive
chip.
tool you don't have. I
They
told
don't got
Kevin
James
this,
Harden no more.
kinda
That nigga
agree.
out of there.
He's like, I gotta see him hit a hook shot. I'm like, I bet he can hit a hook shot. Like, I bet he. But like our joke is like, you can go right, you can go left, you can shoot left hand. You obviously incredible finishing. You can shoot from any range. We even see you dunking a little bit last year, not as much this year. Hey, you might
That's what I'm
work on
saying.
that.
I never
get them
felt
calf
like
raises, bro. Like,
I just never felt like I got back this year.
what
you
is
know?
there?
But,
What is there
yeah.
to add to that palette?
See, and that's probably
Nah,
why this
Kyrie, don't be a
year for me
dunker.
Was,
You don't need to be.
the level of disappointment that I feel is not the level of disappointment I'm pretty sure that people had when they chose us to be contenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I have a different level of expectation for myself. So when I'm working on my game and I'm being creative with how I'm approaching it, meaning, you know, what am I trying to accomplish today instead of just make a bunch of shots, you know, like, and even in the games, you know, what am I trying to accomplish today where it supersedes just going out there and get a bunch of points and assists and recreate moments for people at home, you know, like, let's be honest, you know, people really want those recreated moments. Like, no, be the same player that you were Game 5 and be the same player you were, you know, when you had 14 straight games of 30-plus points or 25-plus points and, you know, and I don't want to throw things that I haven't done, but
I think Kevin deals with this too. Exactly.
It's just after a while, there's an easy expectation people throw on you to be at that level all the time, and that's not part of my motivation. My motivation now is, hey, all right, yeah, it'd be great to add a hook shot, but you know,
it's there. Like,
yeah,
don't lie, it's there. I know
it's there, but now I just want to put a complete game together, you know, or a complete strategy together, and work on things situational wise. So when we get into our postseason, which is the season that really matters, you know, once you're out of the carrot race, now you're into the physical and the dominant. I like to say, like, you go deep into your will when you're in the playoffs, because now you're challenged beyond what any of the refs can control and any of what the other defensive coaches on the other team can control. You know what I mean? It's like you throw everything out of the window and it's just hoop, and it's who can I dominate and how much will do I have in me to consistently do it to win 4 straight games. So adding to my game now is really adding to my own personal resume of being successfully dominant as a team and being one of the best players on that team. So if that means getting a few more assists, if that means taking a few less shots and being efficient with those shots, if it means taking more shots and being more efficient with that, if it means switching up my role, going from the 1 to the 2 or the 2 to the 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. Trying to be more efficient.
Flexible for my coach to throw me in there to guard.
He trying to have more of an
times,
impact
even though it's
on the game.
For me, I just really want
not just get buckets and shit.
And that was one of the
But I mean, you still need to get bucks. You take too long, bro.
Game. You know, I've been
be on some weird shit.
So
you want to hoop or not? You got to decide, my nigga.
I end up in this category of being one of the most skilled of all time, and being one of the most skilled it's a complete game that I want to be great at. You know, so if I'm not consistently doing that, I love that criticism, and I welcome that. But right now, it's just focused on a personal resume of I like to put together 4 straight years of just team dominance, winning 60+ games, you know, going deep in the playoffs, and having fun building relationships that don't just extend on the court. You know what I mean? It's a trust off the court that helps us win games and helps us win championships. Because I feel like I missed out on that, just consuming the game and trying to answer every question that everybody has for me of who can I be and what's the maximum potential that he can achieve. It's like, and I don't want to overspeak here, but last year when I started like dunking a little bit more, I had worked on my body to be able to do those things, and I saw results.
Yeah.
So when I had the type of season I had, I wasn't surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When 50, 40, 90 and averaging 25 plus per game, I'm grateful for that. But I also am even more appreciative of the work that I put in before I got
That
there.
made it to that.
That's the threshold I'm talking about. Is like you put
Yeah, it
together
makes
a
sense.
great
Put the
summer,
grind in.
You put together.
I gotta
a
put the
great,
grind in. I'm dropping
first
these
3 months
reactions.
of the season, 4 months of the season. and
I'm
then you're
recording
able to
this shit late
accelerate
night and I'm
and play
dropping
off
it.
instincts even more.
And
where
then I'm gonna wake up,
who
drop
knows
some
what
more
can come out of
reactions.
The tool bag, you know, because I done worked on 1 foot jumpers. I done worked on hook shots. I done worked on dunking. I done worked on, you know, beating the other team up and down the floor with my conditioning. I done worked on all these things. So now I'm just playing off instincts, and now I can just play the game. But comparative to like this year, I had to catch up. And playing catch up in a league that's only getting better, it's not the position I really like to be in.
So you worked on the one. So you'll pull the 1-footer out the bag, and it won't be just Kevin out there and Jokic doing that.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm trying to make sure because Kevin, you know, his bag is deep as well. But we have a little as well. But we have a little
Yeah.
debate about, you know,
What?
about whose bag. So this most skill
Oh
combo, you wear
shit!
that hat.
Who y'all think is better,
I
Kyrie or
love that,
KD?
like people online are like, no. And
Whose
then,
bag is
LeBron and
deeper?
D-Wade come out
Who
with-
got
Yeah.
who's more
those
talented?
guys, they're really like that. Like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm
Put it in
grateful
the comment section
for our
below.
peer respect. But
I
I'm
think
trying to
Kyrie better.
fall
You already know.
in,
That's my
in
guy.
the stratosphere that hasn't been done before, you know, and no label or title.
He
can
just be
ever
bullshitting.
justify that for me. You know, I'm grateful for all the recognition and all the respect I've garnered. And part of me wants to live up to that, but then another part of me is like my own personal resume. What makes me happy is playing this way, being on great teams, being able to dominate our matchups individually, but doing it in a way where it doesn't just look easy, but it looks like, damn, you got to put in a whole lot of work in order to make it seem like you do it like that.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like people kind of take advantage of what they see, you know, from greatness. And it's not just in basketball. It could be in different sectors of the world, in different industries. But, like, when people make it look easy, it's like,
Facts.
I think somehow it doesn't register. Like, it took a shit ton of time to be able to do it that way.
I think a lot of you guys suffer from that.
Facts, I agree with that. You gotta put in the grind.
I think Kevin does as well. Like,
Gotta put the work
it
in.
does look easy, but it took a lot of shit to make this shit look easy.
Alright, that's the end of the video. Let me know if y'all want me to react to the second part. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notices. I'm out of here.